You see that? That's what's left of my backyard. It might look like a minefield, and that's because it is a war zone. I want to be clear about something. I am not a violent man. But everyone has their breaking point, and I've reached mine. I'm Tim Jones, and welcome to this edition of View from the Bleachers. Let me be clear about something. If you're a homeowner, there are 3 certainties in life. Your property taxes will go up, the roof will need to be replaced sooner than you think, and last but not least, with the first blossoms of spring, moles will be arriving in a nefarious attempt to destroy your lawn. More about this on the other side. Welcome back. I've lived in 3 different houses over the past 30 years, and I've had a mole problem in every location. You know, not to sound paranoid, but I'm pretty sure it's the same mole in each place. This guy. I'm convinced he's following me. I've named him Henry because, well, first of all, I hate the name Henry. Don't be fooled by his adorable little smile. This little furry fellow is the devil. He probably crawls onto my covers at night just to glare at me with those nasty, vengeful pinhole eyes of his, daring me to try to defeat him. My never-ending war with Henry, well, it started up again last spring after a wintertime truce. At first, it was just a skirmish. You know, a single mound of dirt, discreetly left at the corner of my backyard. Barely noticeable. You know, I went over, I stomped it down, and that was that. There were no other mounds for several days. So relieved, I concluded that Henry had moved on to my neighbor's yard. But I concluded wrong. Very, very wrong. Henry had other plans. 1 week later, there were 2 fresh molehills. The following week, 4 more. Well, now we're up to over 40 dirt pyramids. It's possible Henry's brought in some reinforcements, and it looks like my nemesis was going to make mountains out of a molehill after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not taking this lying down. I get off my hammock every morning to resume my personal battle with the furry face of evil. I've made countless trips to Ace Hardware to stock up on defenses and ammo. These are just a few of the things I've tried, as Henry has continued to mock me. First, I tried sprinkling fox urine powder around my yard. Supposedly moles are afraid of foxes, so the urine is a humane way to gently coax them to move next door. Apparently, my neighbors use a more powerful concentration of fox urine powder because Henry has decided to stay right here and keep on digging. I can just see the smirk on Henry's obnoxious, squinty face right now. Next, I tried installing sonic mole spikes. They give off a high-pitched sound that drives the critters crazy. Sadly, the only mammal that it drove crazy was my wife, who, after 2 weeks of enduring the piercing sound, demanded that I remove them completely. In fact, here is a mole spike that I used to try to nudge Henry off my yard. See that mound right next to the spike? Henry left this for me one day after I installed the sonic spike. It was his way, I believe, of giving me the finger and letting me know that I would need to up my game. Score another victory for the varmint. Then I bought something called lawn mole castor oil, which according to the box, quote, contains a scent, texture, composition that makes these unwelcome critters want to vacate your premises as fast as they can, unquote. Except for Henry. He apparently likes to bathe in this stuff because all it did was motivate him to create even more mounds for my viewing pleasure. Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy. It was time to employ a lethal solution. I returned to Ace, and before I uttered a single word, Ryan, the friendly clerk, said, "Welcome back, Mr. Jones. I believe what you're looking for is on aisle 2, right side." He recommended the poison peanuts. Of course, after applying them to my yard, the only thing that disappeared were the peanuts. That Henry must have a stomach of steel, because he seemed to be begging me to feed him even more peanuts. That bastard. Trip number 7 to Ace. Ryan suggested mole worms, a poisonous gummy that you shove down a fresh mole mound. Moles eat them and die. I'm happy to report that the mole worm experiment was a huge success, if my goal had been to kill the one robin that had visited my yard. But it was no match for Henry. You're supposed to place these little red flags next to the murderous mole holes to keep track of where you've placed the gummies. After 5 days, my backyard looked like a practice putting green from all the red flags strewn all over it. Just remove the sand trap and add about 35 mole holes and a dead robin, and this pretty much would be how my backyard looked. In retrospect, I think the flags were the wrong color. They probably should have been white, because I was on the verge of surrender. Henry was clearly winning the war. Time for the heavy artillery. Back at Ace, where there now was a plaque on the wall listing me as Customer of the Month, Ryan took me to a back room. He solemnly showed me the WireTech 1001 Easy Set Mole Eliminator Trap. The description sounded promising. The most effective mole control product on the market, effective on all species of moles worldwide. It should have come with a disclaimer that said, not to be used against moles named Henry. You'd just be pissing your money away. Every day I checked, and every day the traps were empty. On the positive side, I can attest to the fact that they do work on one species. While setting up the Easy Set, one snapped closed on my finger, causing me excruciating pain. Well played, Henry. Well played. Friends have emailed me several creative suggestions. Why don't you attach a hose from your lawnmower exhaust and insert it into the mole hole? Another suggested the Giant Destroyer gas bomb. It's surefire. And another said, you can't go wrong with the underground exterminator. Well, I've tried everything, but so far, nothing has worked. I briefly considered offering Henry an animal sacrifice of one of our cute little kittens, but I wisely concluded that my wife might eventually notice it was missing. It's been 3 months now that I've been under siege. The network of tunnels beneath my lawn probably resembles a map of the New York City subway system. My mere mortal powers are just no match for the nefarious genius of my enemy. I'm trying to stay positive in the face of defeat. Technically, thanks to Henry, I won't have to aerate my backyard for decades. Well, that's the view from the bleachers. Perhaps I'm off base. I'm Tim Jones, and if you like this video or simply feel sorry for me, please click on the subscribe button below and share this video with your friends or anyone you'd like to annoy. And for more of my humor, you can always visit my website, viewfromthebleachers.net. Thanks for joining me, and if you have any surefire solutions that will help me defeat my backyard mole, don't bother sharing. Nothing will stop that mole. Right now, I'm just hoping he doesn't come after my kids.